A very good evening, Sunday the 8th of September 2024. This is the first in a new series, I suppose, of Recusant 9 transmissions. These are designed slightly, well not slightly, very differently. They are subscriber only, first and foremost, so you have to be subscribed to the highest tier of Redwall and Rabble to access my live transmissions. I know it's caused considerable angst to a number of you, including someone contacting me earlier and wanting to know if it would be okay if it was screen recorded and passed on to their friends. Well, if that would be okay, then I wouldn't be doing it this way, would I? The only reason, well, it's not the only reason, the main reason I'm doing it this way is because we've campaigned for 6 years. We went to a general election and we came up short, and that was after 3 years of me spending 3 years of my life on bail, on police bail. So I'm not prepared to put myself or my family through that again. And just to give you an indication of what that means, let me share this with you so you can see it for yourself. This is a guy called Shah from Plato Street in Oldham. Is one of Cameron Gaffaw's sectarian Oldham group. This was a message sent out following my confirmation that I would continue in some form or another. It was sent out openly to friends of mine. Your boy is getting too big for his boots. Tell your leader, as in me, I will deal with him in good time. So those of you who want me to do this work, you need to understand what I face whilst I'm doing this work. This may be entertainment to some of you, but this is my life, and this is the sort of threats I get on a regular occasion. This is from Shah from Plato Street, and of course, those of you who are familiar with Shah, you will know that he was employed at Waterhead School. Why would someone who was employed at Waterhead School be wanting to why would someone like that be wanting to issue threats? Here is another threat by a man called Masood Mir. It's a fake Facebook account. Many of you have seen it before. You can see perhaps at the top, there's superimposing my face with a pig. The police know who he is. He's protected by Greater Manchester Police. He has been protected by Greater Manchester Police by some time. This was sent to a family member of mine. You're full of shit like Raja. Don't think we don't know what you did, you smelly bastard. We will come for you. Watch your back. Greater Manchester Police are fully aware of all of these threats, as they have been, and in fact they are partners. They are active partners in the incitement of violence against me, including my murder. So for those of you who are new to this, you need to understand what I go through on a daily basis for doing nothing other than making a stand against the cover-up of the grooming and gang rape of my town's children, and trying to bring some form of honesty and integrity to the politics of our town, so that ultimately it serves the majority of people in this town. So that's who I am, that's what I'm dealing with, and that is one of the main reasons why these are subscriber only. Those of you who are not on a Recusant tier subscription can of course subscribe to the Rabble tier subscription, not the Rabble, the Radical tier subscription, which is £10 a month, £2 a week, £2.50 a week. You spend it more on a magazine, you spend it more on a coffee, you spend it more on a packet of crisps and a drink, and you will get the pre-recorded, so it's the recorded version. I'll quickly edit it down and I'll share it via Vimeo, and it'll be in your inboxes.
Do not fear them. Do not fear any of them.
The latest attacks follow me exposing this man, Saeed Maroof Ali, still employed at North Chadderton School. You can see Zafar Iqbal, sectarian candidate, the anti-Semitic sectarian candidate, One State Solution. Zafar Iqbal is now promoting Maroof Ali openly on his Facebook page, along with had an amazing time with the children in New York City. What a man who is apparently fighting against Israel wants to go on holiday in the United States is another matter entirely. But as a consequence of this latest account was set up, and that's a friend of mine from Coppice. Oldham love Raja Mir, and it's been constantly spewing out abuse, along with the abuse by Masood Mir. Let's get on with this evening's broadcast. The council meetings return on Wednesday, so the first of the full council meetings in September after the summer break start on Wednesday at 6 o'clock. I've already seen the motions, there's 7 or 8 motions, and I will be doing a specific broadcast analysing the motions on, I think, Tuesday evening is the plan. The actual agenda for the meeting will get published on Monday, including any amendments to the motion, so I need to wait for the agenda and the amendments to any motions, and I will go through all of that on Tuesday evening prior to the live streaming, the live watch along of the council meeting on Wednesday tea time. So that's the plan. You'll be equipped with everything you need to know. I'll analyse all the paperwork for you beforehand. On Tuesday evening, it'll take me a day or so to make sense of the hundreds of pages that come out, and then on Tuesday evening I will run through the agenda and what you need to know about the council meeting on a Wednesday. On Wednesday we'll do the live watch along, and depending on how the week goes, I will do a council meeting. In fact, I will do a post-council meeting analysis over on Patreon. So on the Patreon live chat, I'll do an analysis after the council meeting has finished, a post debrief of the council meeting over on Patreon. So if you're not subscribed to Patreon, do go over there and subscribe to Patreon. You can join for free actually on Patreon. It's just the group chat to comment on, and again, that isn't for me to make any money. That's just simply for me to protect myself in case someone wants to set up a fake account, post a whole host of nonsense, screen grab it and go running to the police pretending I've somehow incited violence. And yes, that has happened already and led to my arrest. I wanted to start. I spoke to Gary Tarbuck earlier on this week, and he was telling me his wife wants to tidy up my handwriting on this. I've got this very old XP pen, it's called. I bought it on offer, and with this tablet in front of me. It's not an iPad. The technology is a bit older, significantly older, but it's got more screen size, which is why I can write over it's the closest I have to a whiteboard, really, without me setting up a separate camera like I used to do during lockdown. I think I used I've got a blue board in the setup, and I used to do that. So this is I'll try my best to improve my writing. Now, the purpose of the transmissions, and I didn't want to bring these back. I don't want to bring these back because they get me in trouble more than anything, and you've seen that already. And the reason they get me in trouble is because the purpose of the transmissions is that they expose the wrongdoing in Oldham Council. They also educate people on how the council should actually run. We then empower people to hold politicians and the council to account. And what we've done through these transmissions is we've actually been responsible for electing people. We've elected politicians as a direct consequence of the work we've done. And this has all been through the Recusant 9 transmissions. And as a consequence of what we've done, Labour started out with 47 councillors, and now they've been reduced to 27 out of 60. And the reason they're still in control is because they've gone and done a deal for 4 extra seats of people we helped to elect. The fails of independence, and of course MARC HINCE's Shah and Crompton Secret Squirrel Society, fake independence. So that is what we did through Recusant 9 over a period of, I think, 6 years. It took us 6 years. And during this time, we took out 3 successive leaders. First of all, it was Sean Fielding. Secondly, we took out AROOJ Shah in Chadderton South. And third, we took out Amanda Chadderton in Royton South. And this last year, we took the council into no overall control. And let there be no doubt whatsoever, the only reason this was possible, only reason this happened, was because of this. Relentless campaigning through the Recusant 9 transmissions, and it's why I spent 3 years on bail. So for me to start again with this, you need to understand what is at risk for me. And with the greatest respect to all of you, no one's going to come and arrest you. If we are to move forward and finish what we started in Oldham, Labour have 27 seats. The collaborators have 4. And then we've got a whole host of sectarians. The Oldham group have 8. And there are 4 other independents. Dems have 9 and the Conservatives have 8 as well. So that is the makeup of the council. And the next election is not until May 2026. Now, if we start off on any endeavour, you need to have a target in mind. What does success look like? Well, this is what I think success looks like. Of the 27 Labour seats, they are up for re-election in Alexander, in Chadderton Central, in Chadderton South, in Coldhurst, in Medlock Vale, in Royton South, and in Waterhead. And Werneth. So they're up in 8 seats, 8 wards. And remember, they've got 27 seats. A mistake, they're up in 9 wards. Because they're also up in Failsworth West. So they're up in 9 wards. And the question for me, and question for you, question for all of us, is how do we remove them? As many of them as possible from these 9 wards. Who can fight in Chadderton Central? Razan, remember, stood in Chadderton Central and lost by something like 16 votes, 17 votes. He won't manage that this time because the person standing is a guy called Nazrul Islam, chairman of the local mosque. He'll get the votes, he'll get the majority of Muslim votes, so it won't be as easy. Shahid Mushtaq, who's standing here. Abdul Malik is standing here. Marie Bashfef is standing here. Afida Hussein is standing here. Here, the existing councillor will be replaced, in my opinion. Let me just bring something else up. Peter Dean. AROOJ Shah will replace him with a Pakistani. I'm pretty sure. In Medlock Vale, I think it's one of the Husseins that are up. And in Failsworth West, it's Labour's Peter Dean. And I think Chadderton South, don't quote me on this, but I think it is Graham Shuttleworth who's up. I'm not sure. It's either Goodwin or Shuttleworth. So of these, who can we take out? And good evening, Paul. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for taking out a subscription as well, is what Paul did. So Paul's new to us. I saw him take out a subscription during the week. And ordinarily, Paul, this would be a valid question. Do you think Labour will be punished on current performance? Well, first of all, we're 2 years away, 18 months, 2 years away. So it's 18 months away. And I think it'll only get worse for Labour, first and foremost. I think it'll only get worse for Labour. Will they be punished? No. Because across the board, in these wards, Alexander, Coldust, Medlock Vale, Waterhead and Werneth, there is something called the cartels, predominantly Pakistani, occasionally Bangladeshi, to the cartels. These are Pakistani sectarians. Also Bangladeshis, but mainly Pakistani sectarians. You've seen them operate now across the country. They've come out into the open. What we've been campaigning against for the last 6 years came out in the open in the general election using Gaza. And yes, even on the verge of bankruptcy. Their core vote will hold, and the core vote will hold is in the main or as part of consequence of postal vote fraud, which I've explained to you before, and I'll do a workshop on that in the main. So the question you've got is, can we attack them, Paul? The areas where we can attack them, where we can remove them, based upon legitimate campaigning and legitimate concerns, not tribal loyalties, not secret deals, exchanging of postal votes, none of that. The places where we can fight them. I'm taking Chadderton. I'm taking Chadderton Central out of there as well. The place where we can fight them is in Chadderton South. Is in Failsworth West. Is in Royton South. So where can we take seats from them directly? Well, it's those three areas we can. So if we were to look at these three areas, please bear with me, I want to keep that up for the moment. I thought Holly Harrison just got elected this time round. I'm sure Holly Harrison just got elected this time round, Ian. If we had to fight them, in Chadderton South, if we had to fight them in Failsworth West, and we had to fight them in Royton South, who can not only defeat them, but then offer legitimate opposition once you get in the council chamber. So for instance, let's look at Royton South. 2 of the 3 seats are held by the Royton Independents. We helped create them. In fact, we created the Royton Independents before they went and stabbed us in the back, refused to honour their commitments on a public inquiry into the cover-up of the grooming and gang rape of children, refused to honour the equipment of a vote of no confidence in Oldham Council, a whole host of things. Her name is Maggie Hurley. Her puppet master is a man called John Hughes. They hold 2 of the 3 seats. The reason they hold 2 of the 3 seats is because the Conservatives refused. The Conservatives refused to put up candidates there. Now, having 3 completely ineffective councillors representing Royton South is actually a disservice to Royton South, in my opinion. But the choice will be whether the Conservatives still no show in Royton South, and 2, whether the Royton Independents can continue to expand. Or whether Labour will fight back. So that's what's happening in Royton South. It's a similar predicament in Failsworth West, where Mark Wilkinson and Sandra Ball stand. Actually, I have more time for them. I don't agree with them all the time, but I don't need to agree with them all the time. I have more time for Mark Wilkinson and Sandra Ball. So in Failsworth West, the Conservatives did not just no-show, they put up paper candidates. They put up Asian candidates, essentially, which were, you know, the people with no legitimacy, no currency, no history in Failsworth. It's not just that they were Asian, it's that they did not belong to the area, and that it was a paper candidate. So in Failsworth West, we know what Labour's base vote is. It's 900. And the reason why Peter Dean got in was because of the civil war between the Failsworth Independents and the Wilkinsons. Now again, I go back to this question that I ask myself, so I'm sharing with you. I go back to this question: how effective are these independent councillors? And they were described as hyper-local, so area specific. How effective are they? And what we've seen over the last 3 years, their effectiveness is in removing Labour councillors. And 2, they're also good at representing at a low level, and I don't mean it disrespectfully, local level. They're not strategic operators. Is that enough? I, having led this fight, would argue it's not. Sadly. Which takes us to Chadderton South. What happened in Chadderton South last time? The Conservatives put up a candidate and then withdrew the support for him. Decent man. They withdrew the support because he was a member, had been a member of the BNP 20 years ago. I didn't care, you didn't care, but the Conservatives, too busy, too scared of being branded racists, withdrew their support from Carl Bardsley. And then out of nowhere, in Royton South, Reform came along and established themselves second. In fact, I'll bring up the results. Just give me a second and I'll show you what the results were. So in Chadderton South, Holly Harrison got in with 1127, and their base vote is about 1200. It's about 1200. Goes up and down, but it's about 1200 at its highest. The Conservatives, which is Carl Bardsley, got 597, so that's about 600. And Reform came third with a paper candidate, well, no one had heard of, with 359. Just as the national picture, so we've got a local issue. Can anything be done in the 18 months between now and the election at a local level, at least, for a pact between Reform and the Conservatives, because it's the only way in which Labour will be removed. Likewise, Chadderton North here, sorry, my fault. There's also Chadderton North here. Likewise, in Chadderton North, Eddie Moores won with 1,383 votes. The closest person to him was the Conservatives, with a guy called Modud, who got 824 votes. There's two questions I have. One, would a white Conservative win? Not being racist, I'm telling you as it is. Would a white Conservative win? Would it appeal to voters more? And two, would reform appeal here? Legitimate questions for me. The same in Royton South. So let me get rid of this. So these are the options we have. In the 10 of the 10 Labour seats, who can contest them? And you have seats like the white majority seats, and the Asian seats. In the white majority seats, you have, I'll go from Alexander, give me a second. Chadstone Central. All of these are held by Labour, apart from Hollingwood, which is held by the sectarians. And in the white areas, of course, you've got Chariton, And I've not talked about the 3 Saddleworth and the 2 Shah and Crompton wards, Saddleworth North South and South Western Leeds and the 2 in Shah and Crompton. That's how we get to 20. So the question we've got here is who is best? Who can contest these seats the best? I'm ignoring the others for now, because Labour don't hold them, or neither do the sectarians hold them. And I would argue that you have 3 choices. One is the hyper-local independents. And accept that, as ineffective as they are, at least they'll be effective in taking out Labour Party councillors. 2, you've got the Conservatives. The Lib Dems have never featured in these areas, so there's no point talking about the Lib Dems. And 3, the unknown, is Reform. So if we want to proceed to May 2026, we need to work to a plan. Who targets where? And it's because we've worked to a plan that we've got as far as we've got. This is despite what HINCE and Brian HOBIN have done since with LISA NAVESEY and HINDLE. Put that to one side. That wasn't something in our control, and that was something we couldn't deal with. So the question is, where do we let the hyper-locals go, carry on? Where do we let the Conservatives carry on? And where do Reform come in? Now, if it was me, and bear in mind, I have issues here with people. Myself. If it was me, the hyper-local independents, well, where are they already? They're already in Royton South. I don't like Maggie Hurley in her team, but they're best equipped to take out Labour there. If it was me, we'd put all the support behind Mark Wilkinson and his team to take out Pete Davis there, and we'd also put all of our support behind Mark Wilkinson and his team to take out the traitor Brian HOBIN in Failsworth East. Hindle's standing, I think. So that's what I'd do there if it was up to me. If it was then up to me, I'd say, okay, who is best equipped? Well, in Royton North, the Conservatives are standing already. It's a Conservative candidate up for re-election, so you'd support them. In Chadderton South, it's the Conservatives who actually took a seat in the past, and a better campaign with the groundswell of opinion turning more and more against Labour. With the right campaign, the Conservatives could take Royton, Chadderton South again. No problem whatsoever, in my opinion. I also think with the right candidate and the right campaign, the Conservatives could and should take Chadderton North. The Conservatives have tried repeatedly to take to St James, and they have one councillor there already. But each time they've tried since, they've come up short because they've run a shit campaign. Honestly, a team of GCSE students could run a better campaign in St James's than the Conservatives have the last 2, if not 3 times. And it's a ward with a very, very low turnout. St James's, 757 was the winning number. as low as that. And the Conservatives finished on 628. It's Amoy Lindo who stands and got 554 votes. That split the vote. We can take Amoy out there. I wouldn't worry so much. But St James's, the Conservatives, with a better campaign, can win there. Now the problem we've got is, what do we do in the Asian seats, what I describe as the Asian seats? And I'm going to put it out there right now. Lib Dems can't win here. The Conservatives can't win here. The only way in which we can win in these areas, all of these areas, is through a white and secular Asian people like me, black and minority ethnic groups as well, the Indians, the African Caribbeans, you get the picture. All those who are not the cartels, who are not bought into the Islamists. And that can only happen with reform. Oldham, in these areas, Alexander, Chadderton Central, Coldust, Hollingwood, Medlock, Vale, St Mary's, Waterhead and Werneth, Oldham needs reform. It is the only party mechanism capable of mobilising the disaffected, the demonised, the disaffected, the demonised, the dispossessed, and pulling them together in sufficient numbers to take on the cartels in the cartel backyards and fight them. Oldham needs reform in these areas. And if Oldham does not have reform in these areas, Alexander, Chadderton Central, Coldust, Hollingwood, Medlock Vale, St Mary's, Waterhead, Werneth, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8 wards, that's 24 seats. 6 more, and eventually Oldham will be controlled by either by 2 strands of the cartels, one of 2 strands of the cartels. One is the sectarian Oldham group led by Cameron Gaffer, who's playing the Muslim card dangerously, and the other one is the mobster affiliated Labour leader AROOJ Shah. And let's face it, the 2 sides of the same backside. And you'll lose, because what they'll do is they'll do deals with whoever they need to control the town. So for us to move forward, we need to be strategic in our campaign. One, we support the hyperlocals. There are 2 parties here. One is the Wilkinsons in Failsworth and Sandra Ball, and the other one, as unpalatable as it is to me personally, is the Royton Independents. Knowing that at least we get to first base here, and that's Labour do not have a seat. Secondly, we strengthen the Conservatives, white working class Conservative areas, yeah. Royton North, where they hold all 3 seats. They've got a candidate up. We help them hold. We help them take Chadderton North. We help them take Chadderton South. and we help them take St. James. And then where the fight back is Reform. And Reform takes the fight to mobilise the white working classes in Alexandra Ward, in Chadderton Central, in Coldhurst, in Medlock Vale, which includes Bardsley, includes Fitton Hill, enough votes there, in Hollingwood, includes Limeside, more than enough votes there, St Mary's, that's AROOJ Shah's backyard, Waterhead, plenty of votes in Waterhead, and even Werneth. I'm missing one. It'll come to me. No, I'm not. In Failsworth West and East. Yeah, there's 2 ones there. So if you want a plan, that's the plan. Now, separate to this, we have unfinished business, and I'm not talked about. I've not listed here. Shaw, Crompton, Saddleworth North, Saddleworth South, and Saddleworth Western Leeds. Lib Dem strongholds, and Lib Dem Conservative fight it out. I'm not really bothered. We have a cancer here. We have a cancer in Shaw. It is our fault. We are responsible. And it is a cancer that needs to be purged. There's a cancer in Shaw, and that is led by a man called Councillor MARC HINCE. Now, MARC HINCE is attempting to silence me, harass me, intimidate me, and he's resorted to putting forward a motion at Oldham Council thinking it will somehow scare me, blackmailing me into silence. That's not going to work, mince. Councillor MARC HINCE with Brian HOBIN and Neil HINDLE with LISA NAVESEY. HOBIN is a bit scared because he's a convicted fraudster. From what I can make out of the article in the newspaper from the time, he was responsible for swindling old women out of their savings to fund his gambling habit. Narrowly escaped prison. How he escaped prison, I'm not sure. HINDLE is his partner, his business partner, from what I can make out, so those two are peas in a pod. HINDLE is the one up for election, and we should aid Mark Wilkinson and his team in taking them out, because they are in bed with Labour. Then we've got MARC HINCE, a former Labour Party member who conned us all, and his sidekick, LISA NAVESEY. Now, Lisa's not the brightest, and that's not me being in any way sexist. She's just simply not the brightest. If she was a man or a transgender person with the same intellect, I'd say the same. So she's just a stooge in many ways, but comes from a dangerous family, and I'll get to that in a moment. Now, MARC HINCE has openly propped up AROOJ Shah. So much so that at the last council meeting, he all saw me put the video out there. He voted down, he led the Labour Party in voting down calls for a genuine public inquiry that included public officials being investigated. We've had a vote, that's the end of it. Mince doesn't like me campaigning, and he doesn't like me campaigning because he knows the reason he's in power is because of the way in which I campaigned. So he's trying to threaten me and scare me. He started off by sending messages. Is Raja next? You can perhaps see at the top there. I'm not sure you can see it. Just that. Where he's criticising Lewis Quigg. Lewis only cares about Lewis. He's a fancy dress Winston Churchill, blah, blah, blah. You can see he's just being abusive to Councillor Lewis Quigg, who's probably the most effective opposition councillor in the chamber. We're prepared to talk. We are also in talks with Gaffer, so you all know about the deal he tried to do with Gaffer. So this is him privately admitting to it before we exposed him. I know you're a massive supporter on deprived children. Tell your mate it's coming. This was a threat directed at me. You can see the time it was sent, 22:46 is when he likes to have a drink. He hides behind his Facebook account and he thinks some sort of investigation or a threat of investigation into Collective Spirit School that I've gone through and through so many times will somehow intimidate and scare me. All this while the school paid millions to companies associated with the school's leadership. Well, that's complete fallacy. Justice is coming, he claims. Hiding. That's what he is, a coward. And like all drunken cowards, he sends messages again. Tell your mate 34 people have come forward. The wheels are in motion and justice is incoming. And tell him, as in me, HMRC and the Electoral Commission are already investigating. Well, the Electoral Commission aren't investigating me for anything because I've submitted my returns. And the HMRC, last time they investigated me, gave me a rebate because of a whole host of false and malicious allegations. So any investigation that would be coming my way, neither HMRC or the Electoral Commission would inform a drunk, would they? But of course, and these are his own words, I'm just a pissed up cunt who makes farm animals nervous. Not as nervous as he's going to be. Listen, Mark Hince. Your mates have tried to have me murdered. Your mates have tried to have me imprisoned. Your mates have tried to attack members of my family, my friends, and are still continuing to threaten them. Do you think I am in any way scared of a red-nosed drunk like you? Bring on the investigation. Bring on any investigation you want, because I look forward to it, because any investigation that comes forward, I will insist on all communications held at Oldham Council to be released, which will, I have no doubt, not only exonerate me of any and all wrongdoing once and for all. What I'm 100% sure is that it will also expose not just the council's complicity in destabilising a school, but it will also expose dodgy land deals and financial transactions involving senior council officials, including politicians. I'm 100% certain of that. So bring on the investigation, you pillock. Like I care. In fact, I do care. Bring it on. Bring it on, Hince, and he's got my phone number. The coward has my phone number. So he thinks he's going to troll me. And all the time hiding behind the Shah and Crompton Facebook page. I mean, this is a councillor. There are 8 people who use this profile. No, Councillor Hince, it's you. You're a coward. You're an absolute coward. So bring it on. Now, what I wanted to talk about and why they're getting nervous. And by the way, this is a direct screen grab from Twitter. Before anyone accuses me of using children's images, this is St Mary's Church of England School themselves, who put up this picture publicly on their Twitter account. They were pleased to announce that they have won a share of the prize money for helping design the new Shah and Crompton Town Council logo. Pictured here are some Year 6 pupils along with Councillor Mark Hince and Chief Officer to the Council, Tony Hilton. My issue, as shown here, is that here we have councillors who are directly accessing children from the parish council. Councillors who are directly accessing children. And if you followed my post earlier this week, I shared with you how to this day the most recent release of information we have anyway, the majority of Oldham councillors still do not have DBS checks, and those who do not have enhanced DBS checks. So LISA NAVESEY, when I raised this, LISA NAVESEY took to Facebook to respond to me. For your information, OMBC have my enhanced DBS check. Well, actually, OMBC, to my information from sources within OMBC, is that LISA NAVESEY does not have an enhanced DBS check. And it's important because LISA NAVESEY is the Deputy Safeguarding Lead in Oldham. She was given that appointment by AROOJ Shah in exchange for the votes to keep her in power. Now I asked LISA NAVESEY a simple question. Do you agree that every councillor, including her husband, Lee NAVESEY, who wore the mayoral chains, I think, of the town council, Shah Parish Town Council, all of them should have enhanced DBS checks? She did respond. Her response was no. Some form of DBS checks. I disagree. I think if you are going to stand alongside children, I believe that if you are going to stand alongside children, if you're an elected official, an affected politician, or a senior officer, such as these men pictured here, you should have an enhanced DBS check, and this DBS check should be published alongside your members' declaration of interests. And then it is for parents to decide whether, even if you pass the threshold with a criminal record, even if you pass the threshold, if a parent sees something on your criminal record, on your DBS check, then they have a right to say, there is not a chance in hell this man should be anywhere near my child, on a school governing body, taking children away, on scout trips, brownie, guides, whatever. You get the impression. Now, why is it so difficult to accept that, LISA NAVESEY? Why is it so difficult to accept that every councillor, all 60 councillors in Oldham Council, and also every parish councillor on both Shah Parish Council and Saddleworth Town Council should have an enhanced DBS check, and that DBS check should be published alongside members' declarations of interest? Why will LISA NAVESEY not simply agree with that? Now, I've shared with you information how LISA NAVESEY herself is linked, as in her nephew is a convicted killer. That's right, LISA NAVESEY's nephew is a convicted killer. Upper Mill Christmas attack, pair jailed for killing man on night out. 2 men who killed a man who was out celebrating Christmas with his work colleagues have been jailed. Daniel Hogan, 32, was punched in the face, causing him to fall backwards and hit his head on the cobbles in Upper Mill. He was pronounced dead at hospital. Michael Neild of Society Street Saw and Daniel Forrester of Ashfield Crescent, Oldham. Michael Neild, this lad I think is Michael Neild, is LISA NAVESEY's nephew. Now of course, she has no control over her nephew. The point I'm making here, in a town infested with councillors with links to organised crime, as demonstrated last week, never mind AROOJ Shah at the top, a whole host of others, also with criminal records that we know about, such as Brian HOBIN. Surely every councillor should have an enhanced DBS check. Yet LISA NAVESEY resists supporting one, and AROOJ Shah is happy to look the other way. And my suspicion, and information coming to me, is that there is a reason why. And I think it is imperative that every one of MARC HINCE's Shah and Crompton team commit to enhanced DBS checks, along with every other councillor in Oldham Metropolitan Borough. And the failure to do that in a town where we've got councillors, ex-councillors who are convicted child sex offenders. Let's not forget that. Convicted fraudsters. Benefit fraudster. There's one even who's a benefit fraudster. What's his name? Akil Salamat. Fida Hussein, the newspaper reports will show you, who was questioned for money laundering. Not sure what came of that. There's at least one councillor that I know of who's been bailed for rape, quietly hidden away. Every councillor should have an enhanced DBS check, both councillors on Oldham Council, all 60 of them, and also the Shah and Crompton Parish Council, the town council there, and also the Saddleworth and Lees Parish Council. And I call upon the Conservatives and the Liberal Democrats to lead the way and insist that this happens, or at least a vote happens, a motion happens. Because there is no way that politicians should have access to children like this if they do not have enhanced DBS checks that are clear. Wouldn't you agree, Councillor Mark Hince? I think in Shah, the only people who can win now are the Liberal Democrats, and they need to be supported to remove not the Shah independents, because Hince isn't independent. He is in bed with the Labour Party. He is propping up AROOJ Shah. A vote for Shah, Mark Hince and his associates, is a vote for Labour. Of course it can, Paul. And perhaps we will. Perhaps we will launch a national campaign to make it the law that every councillor has an enhanced DBS check that is published alongside their members' declaration of interest. It's a valid point, Paul. And perhaps that's what needs to happen. I'm not wrong here, am I? Yes, Ian. Refusal begs the question, what is being hidden? The politicians tell us all the time, if you have nothing to hide, you have nothing to worry about, give us the information. Have ID cards here. Have your license plate scanned when you're driving your car there. Have your face scanned on face recognition cameras somewhere else. Fingerprints here. You've got nothing to hide, you've got nothing to worry about. Well, let's push it back to them. They've got nothing to hide, they've got nothing to worry about. Likewise, an enhanced DBS check. What's the problem? I know what I think I'd find. And I think I know what's going on. So come after me all you want, Councillor Mark Hince. It will not make a difference because my name is Raja Mia and I will remove you and LISA NAVESEY in the same way I helped get you elected in the first place. We'll go to Shah. We'll deliver leaflets exposing how you are not just a dress-up Nazi. Zig Heiley in council meetings. We'll expose the racism that infests your organisation, the scandals, what's hidden, and of course, we'll take every vote of yours with AROOJ Shah and how you propped up AROOJ Shah and document it in a way where it is made very clear to everyone in Shah that a vote for Mark Hince and a vote for LISA NAVESEY is a vote for the cartel-affiliated Labour Party. So there you have it. Moving forward. And by the way, I have no idea where Reform are or how to get hold of them. In fact, I do know how to get hold of them. Someone affiliated with them asked me to write something for them, and I will write something for them over the next week or so. And I'll try and meet with their leadership to see whether we can coordinate, mobilise them, coordinate them in such a way where we can take the fight. Because to them in those Asian-dominated wards, in those cartel-dominated wards, where the white working class have been completely annihilated, destroyed, dispossessed, demonised, disillusioned, all of those words, and more. And then, in fact, if anything, with Labour now in power nationally, it's easier. Because you've seen what Keir Starmer's doing nationally. And all we've got to do is take what he's doing amplify it, mobilise it and coordinate the opposition. Now, who else can do that if not us? Yes, Paul. And I think what I say to all of you is join the Patreon group. There's a group chat there. Join the Patreon group. You can pay £1 to contribute. I mean, it's neither here nor there, £1 a month, but it means that it keeps the spies away, and also it means those who are posting there aren't the trolls. We've had that else before. We've gone through that before. So join the Patreon group. I keep people updated on everything I do. I don't do anything in secret. We've got this far because there's been a team of us working together, and we are where we are. We've got them down to 27. There's 4 traitors that we'll get rid of, but that's not enough, is it? We want to reduce the 27 even further. And more than that, we want to re-establish democracy in the wards with the cartels, the sectarians, and the jihadists. When I started out, the question for me was, what do we want? What do I want my hometown to look like? And 6 years on, I'm more clear in my mind of what that answer is than I have ever been. I don't care what background you're from. I don't even care what political party you're actually from. I don't play identity politics. I'm not interested. I want representation for people from all of our communities. And I believe the only way we'll get that is not just by removing Labour, but also by replacing them with people of integrity who want the best for all of us. If you take value in these transmissions, please, please, please do recommend me to your friends and family members. I know most of you here pay me £25 a month. Some pay me more, some don't actually pay me anything. And they're on complimentary subscriptions because I handed them out to people who've asked, and I have always done that from the outset. I need a basic income to keep going. I'm looking to try and get to minimum wage, and after expenses, this platform needs to be earning me £2,500 a month, from which I then deduct all the various fees. 100 people will get us there. We're just under 40, we need 60 more. It's as simple as that. We get 60 more, these transmissions go free to air. They're actually ideal. I know, you know, we all know they need to be free to air, but I can't do that right now, which is why I ask you not to share. People can contact me if they want, and whilst £25 may sound like a lot of money a month, I'll leave you with this question. What is the price you're willing to pay? Is it anywhere as close to the price I have paid for the last 6 years? Good night.
Do not fear them. Do not fear any of them. On the 20th of November 2003, James Ignatius O'Rourke McMahon was elected councillor for the Failsworth East Ward of Oldham. Deeply ambitious, he ruthlessly rose to power, and by 2011, he was already leader of the council. In 2015, exploiting a Labour Party loophole, he became MP for Oldham West and Royton. If only the people of the town knew then what they now know. Do not fear them. Do not fear any of them.